Okay, today I'm going to be going over some basic grooming for Doodles, and mostly specifically Doodles because that's really all I groom is my Doodle. When a lot of people think of Golden Doodles, they think of non-shedding, no shedding, some shedding, little shedding, or just completely no shedding. In Zeke's case, he does not really shed. He's got a lot of poodle in him. He is a second generation, so he's an F2. He doesn't really shed. But that doesn't mean he's not high maintenance. He is a high maintenance dog. I recently actually cut his hair because it was getting long and that's a lot of maintenance. So if you want your Doodle fluffy and really long hair, no matter what, you should be grooming your Doodle every day, every other day, depending on how active they are. If you have a puppy, a Doodle puppy, I would highly recommend grooming every day and making it a socializing opportunity. That's one thing that I most definitely lacked on is I didn't groom Zeke as much as a puppy. So he does not like his paws being groomed. He's a little picky about it, but he will let you give him a paw massage, like, you know, right in between the toes and everything. Other than that, he hates, you know, the clippers and the the brush by his legs. So if you have a puppy, I highly recommend grooming every single day, high rewards, stuff like that. So I'm just going to go over some of the tools I use when I groom. We've got this slicker brush. One thing I recommend with slicker brushes is if you look really closely, other than the hair, you can see that there's pins on this brush. The pins make it a lot less scratchy, I believe. They market it as it helps with blood circulation. I personally like the pins because they're a lot more comfortable. Like, I can do this and it doesn't hurt and it feels good. I had a brush before this where it was just the metal and it was scratchy and it did not feel good, and of course my dog did not like it. Another thing I like to use is just a big oval pin brush. Again, if you look closely, the ends are rounded. This one doesn't have like rubber ends. It's just rounded metal. It's not scratchy or flat. I like to use this first and then I go to the slicker. And then right now this is the only comb I can find. I use this for Zeke's ears. It gets a lot of, this is good for getting mats out or tangles. I like this brush a lot. But I also do recommend having a wider brush. So it's like got these thin sides and then it's kind of got a wider side. I looked everywhere and I cannot find it. I lost it. I was looking for it while I was brushing him and trimming him, and I was pretty mad about that. Next, we just have your regular detangling spray. I just use this whenever I detangle him or brush him out. And then my new favorite right now is the Cheek Keratin for dogs. It's a leave-in conditioning and moisturizer spray. This, I just put a crap load on him when I bathe him and before I blow dry him just a little bit so he's damp. And then I go in with this, and it's like really like leave-in conditioner, like people leave-in conditioner. And that helps a lot because then after I blow dry him out, I also, you know, check for any mats because that's when you can really kind of see the tangles too. But I also do brush before a bath. So that's when I kind of go in with this because this is a lot cheaper than this. If I'm not mistaken, this was somewhere around 20 bucks and this was like 10 bucks. So big price difference. So like I was saying, come here, sit. We're gonna use we're gonna use your top hat as a example. I like to go into, you know, I use the spray. I like to cover his eyes just a little bit, and then I first go in with this brush. And the nice thing about Doodles is they don't really have a specific way their hair goes because it's human hair, essentially, like the poodle hair. So you can brush up, down, sideways, whatever way, and it's not gonna hurt them. I know, like, with dogs who kind of, their fur goes one way, you're supposed to only stay that one way. So I like to go in, even if the hair is short, this brush is still really good. See, he gets a little antsy around his feet. Oh, wait, come here, come. Zeke. So then I'm going to go on this side. So this essentially is going to help get out any, you know, just your smaller knots. And then to smooth everything out, I go in with this brush. This brush kind of fluffs everything out. And then with Zeke's top half, I just kind of really poof it up. Let's get your ears. Good boy. So with the mats, what I like to do is, let's say we have a tangle. He doesn't have a lot of hair. I just like brushed it off. So you're gonna kind of like really take it, and you're gonna start going from the ends and trying to split as much of it as you can until you get closer, like to the center. But you don't want to just go straight under and start pulling. That's gonna hurt. Think of it like a dread. If you've ever seen people take out their dreads, they go from the ends and they just start splitting and splitting and splitting and splitting and splitting and splitting until they get to the end, or to the base of their hair. If they go from the base and down, you're not going to do anything. It's either going to make it worse, nothing's going to happen, or it's just going to hurt like hell, or all three of them. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to go over is where mats tend to happen on doodles, because these are the problems where I see that most owners just totally don't even notice, or they don't even know what it is. So if you I don't know if you can see this. Come. So when you're grooming your dog, or just in general with any kind of doodle, you should be able to split their hair and see the skin. If you can't see their skin, you're gonna start to get what's called pelting. When the hair is so compact and tangled and matted, it's all the way to the skin, which is pretty hard, and in most cases, groomers will shave down your dog. Zeke, sit. Come on, sit. Good boy, come. Sit. He's kind of wet because he was rolling in the snow. But if you look, I can, move his hair around and I can see his skin. Good boy. So that's what you want. You want to be able to just run your hands and your fingers through your dog's coat without getting snagged on anything. So let's go over some of your tangling problem areas. First off, we're going to start with the bottom of the ears, and the ears in general. Zeke's ears were actually really long before I trimmed them. Like, they were like down to here, maybe, really fluffy. So his ears needed a lot of attention, because if he's healing next to me, his ear is going to be rubbing up against me, and that's just going to cause a lot of tangles. So anywhere where there's a lot of movement, there's going to be a lot of tangles. So a lot of people don't notice, but anywhere where the joints are, like right here in the chest and underneath, especially in the armpit areas, tend to get in mats. Ooh, okay, come here. Zeke actually had pretty severe matting at one point, and that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to do my research, which I highly recommend a lot of you doodle owners do. So another problem areas is, again, under the armpits, right here, and the base of the tail. This is where I found most of my mats when I first noticed them. And I recently cut down his tail because this kind of part of his tail wasn't growing as much, and it just kind of looks damaged because I had to use a dematting rake to get a lot of those mats out. So it just looked choppy and uneven. So I ended up going and just giving him a big